What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a weekly edition of Wrestling News with the Dude. Today, you will be hearing about what happened this week on GTS Wrestling and the result of AEW Full Gear that happened last Saturday night. Before I start the program, make sure to subscribe for more content and tap that little bell so you don't want to miss an upload. For the past two episodes of GTS Wrestling before Monday's video was released on GTS channel, Grim was absent for the whole 2-day weekend due to the fact that he was taking his time off. The current GTS Intercontinental Champion Kurt Bale had to take over the show, which means an episode of GTS Wrestling will feature several great actions without a fat man that runs the brand. Some of the highlight moments that happened on GTS, such as hardcore title changes like if it's a hot potato, a #1 contendership for the IC title, a tag team action, and the IC title match that happened on the following day. As you may know, Zach Ruby, formerly known as Zack Cena and Zach Valor, became the #1 contender to face Kurt Bale for the IC title. And for those of you who are wondering why he changed his name to Zach Ruby, it's because he changed his style of wrestling, attire, and most importantly, his gimmick. As for the IC title match, it turns out to be a three-way match, which neither Hollywood Hooligan nor Zach Ruby won the IC title, as Kurt Bale was the one who, staying tall, successfully retained. Afterwards, Rey Mysterio came out and attacked him as a preview of what's going to happen between these two on the next few episodes of GTS. Suddenly, a major GTS star, Philly Mike Swanson, returns to make a save for Kurt Bale. The last time we saw a former Intercontinental Champion on GTS was when he made a pipe bomb promo and subsequently quit at SummerSlam after his hard-fought match with Kurt Bale. These two men shook their hand in the ring, but not only that, Philly Mike decided to challenge Kurt for the Intercontinental title, and that concludes the episode of GTS Wrestling without Grim himself. As for the next episode of GTS Wrestling, Rey Mysterio will schedule to face Kurt Bale in not just a champion versus champion match, but also beard versus hair match. However, neither of those titles will be on the line. Also, Shamar is set to defend his GTS championship against Joe Wolf, and it's no secret that Joe Wolf is an easy opponent for Shamar. Or is it? Perhaps we could expect to see some interference from Legendary. Or the question is, will Joe Wolf win the GTS championship for the first time ever? Switching gears to AEW Full Gear pay-per-view show. Starting off with a buy-in match, a match between Britt Baker and Bea Priestley was pretty decent. Britt Baker won by a submission with the jaw lock. After the match, we saw a returning of Awesome Kong and Brandy Rose, and Bea Priestley was victimized. Onto the main card, we saw a tag team match between a team of Santana and Ortiz, known as Proud and Powerful, and a team of the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. Santana and Ortiz hit the street sweeper on Nick Jackson to win the match. And afterwards, we had the best highlight moments on AEW Full Gear was when Ricky Morton managed to do a Canadian Destroyer and suicide dive at his very age. He must be in a great shape and condition for doing those type of moves. On the second match of the night, we seen a match between Hangman Page and Pac, and this match was pretty damn good, although it's shocking that Adam Page won by a clean victory after we know that Pac is the one who has the big ego and a backstage politics. Adam Page went for a deadeye for a victory, and this match was so damn good and it was pretty decent. In the next match, we saw a match between Shawn Spears and Joey Janela with a little to no build-up. And in the climax of the match, Shawn removed a turnbuckle pad from the ring post, and while the referee was attempting to fix the detached turnbuckle, Shawn and Tully Blanchard hit Joey with a spiked pile driver. Shawn delivered a Death Valley driver for the win. We saw a three-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship as SCU, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky defended their titles against the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, and Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and Markel Quinn. Honestly, this is BS when you have 2 men in the ring instead of 3. This match was so damn good, except we had some little bit of stalling time. Scorpio and Frankie managed to deliver an SCU later for a pinfall victory. And afterwards, we had a post-match assault when the Lucha Bros attacked 2 members of SCU. Pentagon Jr. was about to do a pile driver onto a chair. All of a sudden, the lights went out. We had an imposter of Pentagon Jr., which was a deja vu, just like at All In, but except we had the returning of the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels. In the next match, we saw Riho defending her AEW Women's Championship against Emi Sakura, and what happened in the end was when Emi rolled Riho for a near fall, and then 2 of them quickly exchanged pinfall attempts, much like Pinfall City. Right before Riho hit Emi with a double foot stomp to the head to retain her AEW Women's World Championship. In the next match, we saw Chris Jericho versus Cody Rhodes for the AEW World Championship. And although we had Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, and Keiji Muto, aka The Great Muta, were announced as the judge who would determine the winner in the event of a draw. Earlier in the match, Cody was about to do a dive over the top rope onto Chris, but then Chris moved. As a result, Cody took a nasty cut from his forehead. After being treated by ringside doctors, Cody returned to the ring and later hit a springboard cutter for a near fall. Later, Jake Hager got involved by punching Cody, thus getting ejected from the match. In the end, Chris locked in the Lion Tamer submission. All of a sudden, the asshole MJF threw in the towel to end the match, allowing Chris to retain the title. As a per stipulation of this match, Cody will never challenge for the AEW World Championship again. I hope he keeps that promise. Not to mention, this isn't WWE. And then after the match, well, I knew this one was coming. MJF initially consoled Cody before kicking him in the balls, leaving to the crowd's booing. And what's funny is that when a fan who's actually an indie wrestler threw a water, not an alcohol, to MJF. We had a last match of the night as Jon Moxley took on Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned lights out match. And in the beginning, Jon retrieved a garbage can and hit Kenny in the head with the lid. Then they went into the crowd and Kenny hit Jon with a chair. He then put the trash can on Jon and performed a double stomp onto him from a handrail. The two then went back into the ringside area and Jon pulled out a bat covered in barbed wire and assaulted Kenny with it. Later, Kenny attacked Jon with a broom. Yeah, ironically, he's Zaklina, and a large bed of mousetraps and another garbage can. Jon then pulled out a crate filled with anchor chains and performed a sidewalk slam and a neck breaker onto the chains for a near fall. He then tried to choke Kenny with the chain, but Kenny hit Jon with a trash can lid to break the hold. Kenny then tried to strangle Jon with a chain by putting them over his neck, then throwing him over the top rope, but he lost his grip. Kenny went to ringside and pulled out a bag of broken glass and unsuccessfully tried to stab Jon in the eye with a shard of glass. Kenny slammed John into the glass with a spine buster for a near fall. Kenny picked up a handful of the broken glass and put it on John's mouth. Oh boy, this is just so hard to watch. Just like when Jimmy Havoc had his thumbtacks into his mouth. And then he hits 2 V-triggers. Kenny then jabbed the screwdriver onto John's forehead. Oh boy, this is getting good, man. And now Adam Page and the Young Bucks came out and delivered a trampoline of barbed wire for Kenny to use. Oh boy. John then counters and suplexes him onto the barbed wire. And wow, that is one of the biggest highlight moments at AEW Full Gear. The two then fall at the top of the stage, and then Kenny Omega hits a V-trigger through the glass sign. The men returned to the ring afterwards, and John removed the ring canvas to reveal the wooden frame underneath. Kenny hit John with a DDT and went for a Phoenix Splash, but then John moved, smashing Kenny's face into the wood, and then he hits the paradigm shift for the win. And that is what you call impressive. John gives no F given, and he's hardcore. And that is AEW Full Gear, folks. Just as good as All Out and Double or Nothing. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more content. And tap that little bell so you don't want to miss an upload. And as always, peace and good day.